Now, despite the acquittal of Raul Valle on the most serious charges he faced, the partial verdict makes things more complicated and keeps the case open.
Fox 61's Raven Blue spoke with a legal expert about what's next after a mistrial was declared on some of those charges against Valle.
It was a dramatic end to a closely watched trial. After weeks of emotional testimony and hours of deliberation, the jury in the Raul Valle trial acquitted the now 20-year-old of the most serious charge of murder and intentional manslaughter in the 2022 death of Fairfield prep student James McGrath. But the case is not over. I spoke with a legal expert about the verdict and what could come next in the case that has gripped the entire state.
I would have expected the jury to have deliberated even a little longer than it did.
It took jurors until day 3 of deliberations to come to a partial verdict in the Raul Valle trial.
Do you find the defendant guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
The now 20-year-old was found not guilty on the greater offenses of murder and intentional manslaughter, but the jury remained deadlocked on the other 3 charges of assault Valle was charged with following the stabbing death of James McGrath at a 2022 house party in Shelton. Quinnipiac University Law School Dean Brian Galini believes the jury was thoughtful while going through the evidence that was presented to them, leading them to their decision.
We saw that, for example, through the notes that the jury sent back, the request for reviewing the defendant's testimony.
Because Valle and the victims were juveniles at the time of the offense, Galini says a lot of emotions could have played a part in the jury's decision-making, resulting in the partial verdict.
Just a lot of emotion around whether a guilty verdict is justice or compounds what's already a tragic situation. In other words, people have strong feelings about whether a lengthy sentence for a juvenile being tried as an adult is an appropriate resolution.
Since the jury was deadlocked on the lesser offenses and a mistrial was declared, the prosecution has the opportunity to refile the case on those charges.
My best guess is that ultimately there's a refile followed by a period of silence where we don't really hear a lot, and then a plea resolution. That's what my experience and expertise suggests.
Galini says a plea agreement would have some level of incarceration as a requirement. Valle originally rejected a 40-year plea deal. In addition to the potential of a retrial, there are ongoing civil cases against Valle that will play out in the weeks and months to come. In Hartford, Raven Blue, Fox 61.
And you can find more coverage of this trial on Fox 61 Plus. Just download it on your TV and watch for free.